We have two speakers today. We're going to start with Teresa Fox, who is running for federal office, the Congressional District number 6. Yay! And Carrie French, what a nice surprise. She'll be speaking second.
I'm Teresa Fox, and I was born and raised in Bremerton, Washington. I don't know, some of you might know my family, Fox Motors, Fox Brothers, Fox Racing, but 3 generations of automotive businesses. My grandfather, Con Fox, came here in the 1930s and started Fox Auto Electric way back years and years ago. So I come from a family of small business owners, and I know how hard it is for our small businesses to make a dime, particularly nowadays with all of the taxes that we have and all of the regulations. So hard work is something that's in my bones and in my ethics. Myself, personally, I have had 30 years of experience in regulatory compliance, implementing legislation, stakeholdering legislation, writing it, reviewing it, providing input on it at the federal, state, and local level through several of my different employers that I've had. I worked for the federal government, my very first job at 16 and a half out at Naval Undersea Warfare Engineering Station Keyport. And I worked for 12 years for Kitsap County in building and permitting with Ron Perkowitz, if you guys know him, and 5 years in the fire marshal's office as a fire inspector and a trained and certified fire investigator as well. I went from there to the Naval Inactive Ships Maintenance Office down in Bremerton at Naval Base Kitsap and ran the Environmental Safety and Health Department, running multi-million-dollar budgets all along the way and bringing those projects in under budget, on time, and safely. I also worked for Labor and Industries as a regional safety manager throughout the whole region, 6 counties that I'm going to be representing out on the Olympic Peninsula. I worked for Icicle Seafoods up in Alaska as a regional safety manager, one of the toughest jobs ever known to man, I'm here to tell you. 110 days out at sea and never seeing land, up almost all night, every single night, really serious, deadly work up there. So I'm not a wallflower, I'm a pretty tough cookie, and I feel like I can go back to Washington, D.C., and really give us a voice back there. Cornerstone of my campaign, and then I'll get into a couple other things, but a big cornerstone of it is adequate representation. I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm feeling very left out as a citizen, as are most folks that I know. Emily Randall is representing very, very special interests, illegal aliens, advocating for abortion rights in other states, promoting abortion tourism to our state. She's representing tribal reconciliation through a variety of mechanisms, trying to do land transfers of our public lands to the tribes, and there's a whole lot of issues associated with that. But she's not representing the voices of us. You know, we've got issues like public safety, affordability, taxes, fraud, waste, and abuse, and she's not listening to us. At least that's how I feel. And the folks that I've been talking to the past 3 years out on the peninsula, they're all feeling that same way. So those are the 2 biggest issues that I really want to work on. The issue's personal for me. You know, I was born and raised in Bremerton, and I remember when this city, our county, our state was red, we didn't have all these crime issues. I look at our streets now, and we have homeless everywhere. We have impacts to our small businesses. Our residents, our citizens are being burdened under crime. We've got people living in horrible conditions out on the streets. And, you know, God, I feel for those guys, too, because they're living in horrible conditions with all these drugs. And all we're doing is throwing money at it to the NGOs. We're implementing harm reduction, and that's not doing any good for anybody. So 40 years of failed leftist policies, we need to change things and do something differently. Out on the coast, for example, I don't know if you guys remember, but we had the Earth Liberation Front way back in the old days. They were putting tree spikes down in the trees and affecting our loggers. Our timber industry has been decimated out there, And all of the adjunct and supporting industries like the cedar shakes, the railroads that were out there, all those supporting industries are pretty much gone nowadays. Logging's really at a minimum. We've also shut down the majority of our national parks and our national forests out there. That's impacted tourism dollars. Our maritime industry has been impacted by really poor regulations by the National Marine Fisheries Board. That's something that I'm really well tuned into, and there's a lot that we can do at the federal and federal level about that, and tune up those regulations, particularly bycatch. And I'm getting dry mouth because I was out at the air show for 2 days talking. But we can tune up a lot of those regulations from the federal level. So getting back to affordability, taxes, fraud, waste, and abuse, there's a lot that we can do there as well. I want to touch on the sanctuary policies that we have in Washington State. There's a great new bill that is back in Washington, D.C. that's making its way through the process called the Shut Down Sanctuary Policies Act that was introduced by Tom Crowley in California back in February, and it's gone through a couple committees. But that's something that we really need to push through at the federal level, and I would be very supportive of that. I was at the air show yesterday, and actually Saturday and Sunday, but interestingly, there was 2 illegal aliens that came up to our booth and started chatting. And so, of course, I asked them if they're registered voters and was trying to talk with them about that. One of them immediately skedaddled. And the second one, he stood and talked for a few minutes. He was a 30-year illegal alien from Costa Rica. You know, he was a nice enough gentleman, and he did say that, you know, he knew that he should have applied for citizenship way sooner, and now he was afraid that he was going to be deported and blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. So there's a lot of crime and cost associated with our illegal aliens. 100% of crime by illegal is 100% preventable. I don't want to see any more angel families in our state. I also found out recently a statistic. We've got a known about 565 illegal aliens in our incarceration system in Washington. That's a conservative estimate. $97,000 a year per alien it's costing us to house those people in jails. Guess how much money that is? $48 million. And that's just the ones that we know about. So there's not only the crime impact to the victims, but there's also the cost to all of us out there. So public safety is a key issue that I want to work on at the federal level. We've got to get dollars directly into the hands of our law enforcement agencies. We've got, Washington State has the lowest per capita rate of law enforcement. Pierce County, one of the counties that I'm going to represent, has the lowest in the state. We've got folks dying because we've got long response times. We don't have enough sheriffs or law enforcement in the police departments to investigate crimes. We've got crimes against children going on that are not being investigated. We can barely, in Mason County, barely get domestic violence orders served on folks. They recently had a double murder down there. The crime problem, a lot of folks don't realize how bad it is, but it's really deep. We've got an actual public safety crisis out there. And I started to say how personal it is to me. A friend of mine lost their son about a year ago to fentanyl overdose. That's really horrible. I lost another very close friend. She lost her son about 10 years ago to drugs. I just can't stand and watch this anymore. We've got to get the drugs out of our country. If our kids are not exposed to it, we have a much better chance of getting them to adulthood without dying. There's so much I want to say. I've found out so many things since I started this campaign about how deep the drug problem and the crime problem is. Kitsap County has become a major drug trafficking hub for the whole region, for the Olympic Peninsula, because of our super lax policies that we have here. Mason County, they've got a Guatemalan drug gang problem down there. Same as up in Clallam County, where I'll be representing. They have got drugs pouring across the border up there and coming in by sea. So There's just so much going on and such a big bucket of public safety issues, the homeless issue. I could just go on forever about the public safety issue. Near and dear to my heart, though, I've been in occupational safety for years. Public safety is a direct transfer of that for me, and I really know a lot about how to prevent all these things. The biggest thing that I know is that we cannot continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. We've got to do better with that. I want to tell you, too, how great the campaign is going and how inspired I am. Everywhere I go, I keep seeing folks that are just like us right here. They're fed up with everything that's going on in the state and so ready for change. And I really feel this groundswell. And I have felt it even more the past couple weeks as I've been to different events. But people are ready for change. Some of you may know the legendary Herm Peterson. He's a regional dragster from back in the old days. He's been a friend of mine for years and years. He's a staunch Democrat. I gave him a big hug yesterday, and he told me that he's going to vote for me, even though I'm a darn Republican. But there are some folks out there that are ready to cross over. I truly believe that, and people are really ready for change. There's a couple other things that I want to tell you about. I'm going to be, hopefully, I've got it tentatively scheduled with the Cloverleaf holding an election night watch party here on August 4th, and I'm expected to make it through the primary. Emily's looking about 95%. I'm looking at 91%, and then there's 3 other guys that are at 1%. So crossing my fingers, obviously, that we're going to make it through. We're the ones running an actual campaign and really campaigning out there. Couple other good things. I had the opportunity about 3 weeks ago to talk with the Republican National Committee co-chair, Casey Crosby. The RNC isn't throwing us any money yet, but they did say that if we do really good in the primary, that they are able to pivot very quickly and send support to us. They're also hoping that District 3 with John Braun, which is to the south of us, where they are sending money to, that we kind of get a halo effect from the efforts that they're making down there. Another good thing on the slate is, crossing my fingers and really working hard for this as well, the midterm convention in Dallas. I'm really working hard to be a delegate to that so that I can make some really great contacts for us and hopefully bring home some bacon to the campaign. So that's on the plate as well. I'm going to be down at Hog Wild at Ocean Shores in a couple weeks and talking with thousands of bikers. So I'm hoping that those guys are good Americans and Republicans are going to vote for us. I was really inspired at the air show the past 2 days over the weekend. There was 5,000 people each day, and I feel like I really hit and talked to a lot of them, really good Americans. It was really inspiring. There was a paratrooper that jumped out of a plane with a big flag as they were singing the national anthem. And it reminded me of what we're actually fighting for out here in Washington State. That is true America, and that's what I want to fight for us. You know, 250 years of this country, and we made it to her birthday. And I feel like there's a lot of really great patriots. I know all of us in this room work really hard for the Republican Party and for our American values. And there's some folks down in Olympia that are working really hard for us. And I want to work really hard for us back in Washington as well. So thank you. And we're going to talk some questions. All right. Did I take my 10 minutes or did I go over? Oh. Terry's got a question. Well, I'm going to talk to my campaign director and find out why the phone number is not on the website. I could have swore it was.
And what is your website?
fox4wa.com. FOXFORWA.com.
Thank you.
Anyone else with a question? Oh,
Sonia has a question.
We usually use the microphone so everyone can hear. No, you did mention briefly, Mike, about having competition in the primary, and I didn't know that, so that was good. But you have, yes, please.
Do let me share about my primary competition. So there is a gentleman named Leon Lawson that is running as a Trump Republican down in Mason County. He's sort of what I would call a crackpot serial runner. He ran twice for the State House of Representatives and once for United States Senate. He prides himself on not having raised a dime in those 3 races. And he's got a kind of interesting website, MAGA for Washington, and it has a lot of sort of interesting things on it. But he is definitely not a viable candidate, and he's not running an actual campaign. I do want to share there's a new gal that's in the race. Her name is Macy Jones from Squim. She came late to the race. She is even further left than Emily is. She's a Code Pink Hamas supporter, a Gaza supporter, complete and utter communist. So, no, she's running as an independent. Yeah, independent, not a Republican. No, definitely not. So I don't think that she's going to get a whole bunch of votes either. She's looking at about 1%. So there you have it. I think I'm the viable Republican candidate.
Hi, Teresa. Thank you for coming to visit our club.
Thank you for having me.
Are you running for the 6th Congressional District?
6th Congressional District,
Yes.
Kitsap, Mason, Jefferson, Clallam County, Grays Harbor County, and South Sound Pierce County, Tacoma, Fife area.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
You said you're going to have a election party here at the Cloverleaf?
I have tentatively scheduled with that. I'm waiting on the confirmation, but August 4th at 6 p.m., an election night watch party, because I want to
And
see
what-
the results come in at 8:11 like they did. Was it for Ferguson? I can't remember if it was Ferguson or Inslee, but remember when the election results came in like 5 minutes after the ballot boxes closed? So I'm expecting to see my results by 8:05.
And what day is that?
August 4th, 6
August
p.m.
6 p.m. Okay, thank you very much.
Do you guys have any other questions for me? Not like the libertarians, they wanted to know what I thought about the war and... Oh, Lord. Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your guys' support and getting the word out as well. If we can get everybody to vote, there's enough voters out there, and you guys have probably heard this from every candidate everywhere, but there's enough voters out there that if we actually voted, we could flip things around. So thank you guys very much.